Burning Man is just a drug-fueled orgy set to techno music in the desert, right? Wrong. There are some drugs. It's a festival, let's be real. There are orgies. If you want to participate, you do not have to. Okay, there is techno music, but there are other genres, and you can avoid that if you want to. There are other things, and it is in the desert. You got me there. But it's so much more. It's art, it's community, it's connection, it's weirdly impressive infrastructure, it's innovation, it's escapism. It can even be incredibly wholesome. Burning Man is misunderstood. Let's fix that. Hello and welcome. My name's Shelby, and on this channel I try to explain misunderstood topics using research, analysis, and a wide variety of perspectives. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider giving this video a like, commenting, and subscribing to this channel. Burning Man is a very fun topic, so I've got my party glasses on, got my most whimsical earrings on, so I'm ready to go. Burning Man is an annual week-long festival held at the end of summer in northern Nevada. But it did not start that way. It didn't even start in the desert, actually. This will be a seriously condensed version of Burning Man's history. Entire books are written on the subject. It's a very, very rich history, so I apologize to anyone who thinks I cover this too shallowly. You're right. This is a very shallow dive into the history of Burning Man. This is an overview, not a deep dive. There are links in the description box below if you want to get more into the nitty-gritty and you want to find out more about Burning Man's very rich history. Burning Man started in June 1986 when Larry Harvey and a group of his friends burned an 8-foot-tall wooden man on Baker Beach in San Francisco to mark the summer solstice. The event wasn't called Burning Man officially until 2 years later in 1988. By 1990, the crowd had grown and the Golden Gate Police had become aware of this annual event / fire hazard. And they said that you can have the event, you can build the man, but you can't burn the man down. So the event moved to its new home, which it's still at today, Black Rock Desert in northern Nevada, also known as Playa. So here are some of the major milestones in the Burning Man history and the timeline. In 1993, the first theme camp was created called Christmas Camp. Theme camps are now a massive part of Burning Man culture. 1996 was the first year that Burning Man had a theme, Hellco, a play on hell and corporation. In 2000, Burning Man had its first temple, which is something we'll talk about later. It's a very beautiful and important part of Burning Man culture. Based on the ideas of personal expression, personal freedom, community, and escaping societal norms, Burning Man grew exponentially over the next 20 years. And what started as 20 people on the beach burning an 8-foot-tall man is now over 70,000 people in the desert burning a man that is, at times, over 100 feet tall. There are always people in the Burning Man community saying, Burning Man isn't what it used to be, and Burning Man has changed, and they're right. Burning Man has changed. It's evolved and changed and adapted, and there are a lot of opinions on whether that's good or bad. Some people say more rules, more safety guidelines, more oversight, all these things infringe on self-expression and personal freedom and the bedrock of the event. And some people say that all these changes and additions are necessary to ensure that the event survives and continues to happen. In 2004, two big things were codified or made official, the 10 principles and the regional network. We'll talk about the regional network in a bit, but I want to talk about the 10 principles. They are incredibly important. These are the tenets of the Burning Man community. They guide the event, they guide the community, and they are taken very seriously. All 10 are important. I'm going to show you all 10 up on screen. Some of them I will just talk about briefly. Please feel free to pause if you want to read through each of the 10 principles. The art I'm going to be showing you is by Guillermo Flores Pacheco. He's an amazing artist. I have a link to him in the description box below. He created these art pieces based on the 10 principles, and they're stunning. Radical inclusion. Anyone may be a part of Burning Man. We welcome and respect the stranger. This is a big one. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome at Burning Man, no matter what walk of life you come from, no matter who you are. They work really hard to make sure that everyone feels like they have a place. Decommodification. So, Burning Man is not commodified in any way. The only thing you are allowed to buy at Burning Man is ice. That's it. Nothing else. You're not allowed to sell things. You're not allowed to buy things. There are no corporate sponsors. Nothing like that. It is completely decommodified. And I think it really aids in the personal freedom and personal expression. In the description box below, I have a link to the Burning Man page talking about the 10 principles. It's got a really great 10-minute short film all about the 10 principles with burners talking about what it means to them. And under demodification, one of the burners said that they really liked that it enabled creativity for creativity's sake. Whether you're making art or doing manual labor or whatever else you're contributing, you're not doing it for money or any kind of reward. You're doing it for the sake of your community. Gifting. We're going to talk about this one a little bit later when we talk about myths. Radical self-reliance. You are expected to bring everything to Burning Man that you need. Food, water, shelter, medicine, toilet paper, hygiene products, sunscreen, everything you need. You are expected to bring everything that you need and be self-reliant. Don't be a sparkle pony. A sparkle pony is one of my absolute favorite Burning Man terms. Let's look at the Urban Dictionary definition. A sparkle pony is a high-maintenance person at the Burning Man Festival who is unprepared for the harsh camping environment and becomes a burden to their campmates. Burner number 1. Can you believe that sparkle pony over there brought 60 costumes but only 2 gallons of water and some ramen noodles? Burner number 2. Yeah, they asked me where the food court was located. Communal effort. Everyone is expected to contribute, whatever that may look like. Some people can contribute their creativity, their emotional support, their physical labor, their organizational skills, their logistical skills, their equipment, whatever it may be. Everyone is expected to contribute and have a communal effort to make the event happen. Radical self-expression. Burning Man wants you to come exactly as you are and be a part of the community exactly as you are. It's the idea that each burner is unique, and that's what makes the community interesting. Civic responsibility is the idea that you should take care of people, you should take care of the space, you should do your best to follow the local and state and federal laws, and it should be a civil society. Now, this surprises people a little bit. They don't assume that Burning Man has this level of civic responsibility or that they take it that seriously, but they really do. They want people to be safe. They want the space to be taken care of. And that leads right into our next principle, leaving no trace. The community respects the environment. So there's something called MOOP, M-O-O-P, matter out of place. It's a big no-no. It's why Burning Man does not really like glitter or sequins or things that can easily fall off and infect the environment. At the end of the event, people actually link arms and walk through the space to try and get all MOOP picked up so that the space is the same or better than when they found it. Now, this is not a perfect system. They work really, really hard to leave no trace, but nothing's perfect. There are going to be effects. They are burning giant structures responsibly and safely, but they are burning giant structures. And of course, you use a lot of resources for this event. Just getting to the event, you're using gas. People are using single plastic containers. People are ingesting a lot of water. People are going through trash. And as seriously as the event takes leave no trace and civic responsibility, with 70,000 people, there are, of course, burners who do not take it as seriously as they should. People who dump their trash, people who are not careful of the resources they use, etc., etc. So the event does really try, but it's not a perfect system. Participation. Everyone is expected to participate. Now, this is going to look different for everybody, but a burner that I spoke to said that it's the difference between attending Burning Man and experiencing Burning Man. Now, there are people who are influencers or tech bros or whatever the case may be who attend Burning Man. They sit in their luxury camp, they maybe see some of the art, they eat their luxury food, they may have staff or assistants with them, they take a lot of pictures and videos for social media, and they went to Burning Man. There is a difference between that, attending Burning Man, and experiencing Burning Man. You're building a community. You're involved in the community. You create art. You create support. You contribute something to the community. You experience it. You meet new people. You put in some of that communal effort. The difference between attending and experiencing Burning Man. And immediacy. To me, this means this moment only happens once. Experience it exactly as you are, exactly where you are. Really not bad advice for life. So those are the 10 principles. They are incredibly important. Burners cherish them deeply. Now I want to talk about the regional network, because Burning Man is more than just one annual festival in Nevada. The annual event, with over 70,000 people in attendance, is often called Big Burn, and that is to differentiate between the more than 80 regional events that happen around the US and around the world. So here's a map of all the states in blue that have a regional Burning Man event. And here's a map of all the countries, also in blue, that have a regional Burning Man event. This network of regional events is massive. Over 100,000 people attend these regional events. They follow the same 10 principles that we discussed, and there's a lot of overlap. A lot of people who go to Big Burn, the one in Nevada, attend one or more regional burning event. So there are Burning Man events happening in forests, on beaches, in snow, in the rain. It is not just a desert. And while the Burning Man event, the big one, and the organization do have paid staff, although volunteers vastly outnumber them, a lot of these regional events are run purely by volunteers, including my regional. So this is where I have some personal experience with Burning Man. My fiance is a burner. He has attended both Big Burn and our regional event, and all of these misconceptions and myths that I talk about in this video, I had most of them before I met him. I was actually very surprised when he told me he was a burner when we first started dating, because he did not fit the mental picture I had of a burner in my head at all. So that's my first misconception, is that a burner can look like literally anyone. Since meeting him, I have gone to our regional event a few times, so technically I am a burner, and I had a wonderful time. I have not been to Big Burn. I want to be clear, I've attended just one regional event multiple times, but I do have a lot of amazing people in my life, including my fiance, who have been to Big Burn, and I talk to a lot of people outside of my social circle for this video as well. So what does happen at these events, Shelby? You keep saying that it's more than just a drug-fueled techno orgy. So what is it? Well, according to Ben Shapiro, it is counterculture garbage that eats at the roots of fundamental societal institutions. Now, if you're anything like me, if Ben Shapiro hates something that much, I really want to try it. The answer to what is Burning Man is it's a lot of things. So we're going to look at 2 videos, each showing what their day at Burning Man looked like. And their day may look different than anyone else's day. My day at my regional event probably looks different than a lot of other people's. But we're going to look at these 2 videos so you can kind of get an idea of what a day at Burning Man could look like. So I apologize in advance. This is not a long video, but I am going to pause it pretty frequently just so we can talk about what you're seeing and kind of give some context. First of all, this is from a TikTok page called Hand Luggage Only. It's a really fun page with beautiful travel videos. So if you're interested in that, give them a follow. The link to this video is in the description box below. The first thing you can see is it's very dusty. We'll talk about that in a minute. But also you're seeing a lot of bikes. So Burning Man, the big festival in Nevada, is huge. A lot of people bring bikes because it is massive, and walking it just will not let you see enough of the festival. So it says, this is what a day in Burning Man actually looks like. First, we went for breakfast at a camp near us that was doing Canadian bacon sandwiches. You don't pay for any of this. Everything everyone gives you here is free. First of all, that's an amazing shot. But they're absolutely right. Like I said, it's completely decommodified. So you cannot buy things, you cannot sell things. People are giving you things. You are giving people things for free. Then we went for coffee and donuts at a different camp. As the sun started to feel a lot hotter, we ventured into this camp for a mid-morning nap and woke up to a breathwork class that had just started here, which we decided to join in on. So as you can see, they've already come across multiple camps, themed camps, service camps. So they came across a camp that was giving out breakfast sandwiches. They came across a camp that was giving out donuts and coffee. They came across a camp that offered nap, lounge, rest areas for people to watch or sleep. And when they woke up, they were having a breathwork class. So you might come across a lot of different classes or lessons or seminars or whatever. They're all very casual, come in, come out, however you please. The breathwork class was then immediately followed by midday yoga. We then moved on next door to another camp for amplified yoga. I don't really know what that means, which feels nothing like yoga that you're used to. After that, we decided to head back to our RV to relax and cool off in the air conditioning. Now, having an RV with air conditioning, that is a luxury. A lot of people do bring RVs, but this is a luxury that not everyone has. Most of the people in my life do tent camping when they're at Burning Man, which is a little more brutal. So this is a bit of luxury that you're seeing. We also got some lunch and changed into different clothes for the evenings. Lots of fun outfits. For the evening, we made our way over to one of the sound stages to party, and while we were on stage, we got a pretty great view of the burning of this gigantic traffic cone. So that's another thing. The Mann is not the only thing that burns at Burning Man. So they do burn the temple, which we'll talk about, but at the big Burning Man festival in Nevada, they also burn large structures like this traffic cone throughout the event. So there's a lot of fire. It's a lot of burning, a lot of fire. Which was the first thing we had seen burn all week. We broke away from the dancing for a little bit to go to a few more bars. These are some art cars you're seeing. And again, you don't pay for drinks here. The camps that do this give this to you for free. We also brought gifts with us, which we gave to other people as the night went on. We then hopped back onto the soundstage for another bit of dancing before we headed back to our RV to top up our drinks, which we took cycling around with us. At around 5 a.m., we then went roller skating and just decided to stay up till sunrise. Sunrise, by the way, was absolutely gorgeous, and we found ourselves with a perfect view of it between the temple and the Mann. That is gorgeous. Once the sun had fully risen, we decided to call a night and just head straight to bed. So that is what one group's day at Burning Man, one person's day at Burning Man looks like. Someone else's day might look completely different. So let's talk about the dust. You might think, what's the big deal? It's dust. I've known dust before, but playa dust is a whole different animal. Playa dust is very alkaline, it's very caustic, and it's very, very fine. Another Urban Dictionary definition for you. Playa dust is dried, packed, and ground up alkali lake bed dust, specifically from Black Rock Desert, Nevada. It's an unpopular souvenir from Burning Man that gets into everything. So minuscule are its particles that you'll be getting them out of whatever you bring for years to come. No means known yet to man is effective for completely removing the substance from items that have been to the event. All attempts to do so will merely end in utter frustration. So a big concern that I see when I'm researching Burning Man and its effects are, is it safe? Now, Dr. Aleem Surani, a pulmonary medical specialist at the Northern Nevada Medical Group, said short-term exposure to playa dust is unlikely to cause any long-term effects, even if repeated, even if you go every year. So basically, the research that does exist is based on prolonged long-term exposure. People who work in the mines, people who live in the areas, people who would be spending 24/7, 365 in this alkaline dust. Granted, anyone attending Burning Man with pre-existing conditions like asthma should take extra caution, the same with children and elderly people. Something Burning Man tells everyone to do is to bring a particle or dust mask, as well as goggles to protect your eyes during dust storms. The dust storms at Burning Man are no joke, so you want to make sure you're protected. There are all different kinds of goggles and all different kinds of masks, so you can find one that works for you. Just make sure that those goggles seal around your eyes to protect them. Unless you have an underlying medical condition, it is safe to attend Burning Man every year if you want to. Something else I want to point out in those videos that we watched was how wide open the space is. You're not seeing lines, you're not seeing dense crowds, which is great because I don't want that at all. Dense crowds make me very, very anxious. So there are lines at Burning Man. There might be lines at a very popular camp. There are lines in cars to get in and out of the event. But once you're in the event, again, you're not paying for anything. You're not allowed to. It's an event full of wandering. Everyone is wandering from place to place wherever they want. If you wander into a yoga class and you decide to leave, that's fine. Feel free to leave. You can wander up to a soundstage where a DJ is playing or a musician is playing, and you can wander away. The crowds are not dense. They're very loose and dispersed. You're free to walk wherever you want to walk. It's really, you can move where the wind takes you. The fact is, your experience at Burning Man is whatever you make it. Thousands of kids attend Burning Man events each year, and they have a very safe and wholesome experience. So if you want to have a very kid-friendly experience, you can. If you want to party and dance the whole time, you can do that. You want to meet a ton of new friends and talk about life and philosophy, you can do that. Want to learn new skills and practices? You can do that too. Everyone's burn looks different, and I think that's what's so beautiful about it. So we've talked about how there are all kinds of camps. There are camps offering food and classes and services and conversation and pretty much everything you can think of. But my personal favorite part of Burning Man, and something that before I learned about it, I didn't realize was such a big part of it, is the art. Burning Man has phenomenal artists. And again, because of the nature of Burning Man, they make the art just for the sake of creating the art and sharing it with their community, which is very beautiful. So the art is often interactive. It's often something that you can interact with or climb on or go into. It's thought-provoking, and it's often awe-inspiring. It can also be this. This is called Meta Fork in the Road, because it's a fork in the road. Do you get it?
Groundbreaking.
This was commissioned by Elon Musk because, sure. It's one of my favorite art pieces. It's called Glimmer. It is a giant jewel crown made by the team at Iron Monkeys. And not only do I think it's a beautiful piece of art, but I actually do know someone who worked on this piece, and I got to hear about the creation of it, and it's just one of my favorites. Another popular type of art is art cars. These are managed by the DMV, the Department of Mutant Vehicles. Here are some really fun ones that I found. The Victorian house. This is a tea party, and each different car, each different teapot has a different theme. This is a glorious ship. Inside of this rubber duck is a disco, a working disco. This is a giant vacuum. And this is a very famous piece. This is a flaming octopus, and his name is El Pulpo Mecanico, and he's a very famous fixture. So let's talk about temple, because the Mann is not the only thing that burns at the event. Like I said, one of the other main burning events the night after the Mann burns is temple. Temple started in 2000. It was to honor a friend who passed away in a motorcycle accident before the event, and it became a tradition the following year in 2001, and it's continued ever since. From the Burning Man organization, the temple is a neutral, non-denominational spiritual space where everyone can gather to share in the experience of remembering the past, honoring or cursing the present, and pondering the future to come. The temple really is a beautiful piece of this culture. The first year I attended my local regional Burning Man event, I had lost a friend that year, and I just made a little something, a little craft to remember her. I placed it in the temple. I had a really emotional goodbye, and then watching the temple burn down was deeply cathartic and a really, really helpful part of my grieving process. So a lot of people do what I did throughout the event. They fill the temple with inscriptions or pictures or artwork or anything that they're ready to let go of, and it's burned on that Sunday night after they burn the Mann on Saturday, then they burn the temple on Sunday. And while burning the Mann is joyous and loud and exciting, on Sunday night when they burn the temple, it's burned in silence. It is very personal. It's very cathartic. Full of reverence. It's very heavy. A burner that I spoke to said that when you pass the temple, you can feel the weight of it from at least 25 feet away. There are temple guardians who look over the temple 24 hours a day to support people who are using the temple and to make sure that it stays respected and revered like it should be. And temple is some of the most beautiful structures that get built at Burning Man. Here are just a few of them. These are all built by hand, and they are absolutely breathtaking. Let's talk about the myths. The first one is what we've been talking about this whole time. The myth that Burning Man is one big orgy or rave or party. And it can be if you want it to be. The beautiful thing about Burning Man and the Burning Man regional events is it's whatever you want to make it. Thousands of children attend Burning Man and Burning Man events every year, and they have a safe and joyful and very wholesome experience. Yes, there are camps that have orgies and bondage workshops and things like that, but They are very well advertised. You know exactly what it is. Nothing inappropriate is happening in open sight. You have to purposefully go into the camp to see or experience any of that, and they are very strict about keeping minors out. So yes, there are adult-only things going on at Burning Man. Of course there are. But there are also ways for children to have a very wholesome, safe experience. So if you want to have that wholesome experience, you can. If you want to party and dance the whole time, you can. If you want to meet a ton of new friends and discuss life and philosophy, you can do that. You want to learn a new skill or a new practice, you can do that too. Everyone's burn looks different based on what they want and what they need and who they are. Myth number 2, Burning Man is like Coachella, or that Burning Man is full of influencers and tech bros. There are some. There are. In general, burners don't really like them very much because, again, they're not there to experience Burning Man. They're there to attend Burning Man. They're there to have a luxurious, comfortable, kind of detached experience where they see Burning Man and they went there and they saw the art and they took their pictures and they ate their gourmet food. But that's not really attending Burning Man as intended. That's not being part of the community, which is the whole point. So yes, there are influencers. Yes, there are millionaires and billionaires, and there absolutely are, because anyone can go to Burning Man. It is radical inclusion. Those people are included. They are allowed to come to Burning Man. But I don't think it's the majority. It is, and it's nothing like Coachella. Coachella is long lines and crowds and paying a lot of money and filming pop stars with your phone, and Burning Man's not that. The next myth is that Burning Man is an unorganized, anarchistic free-for-all. Burning Man is a miracle of infrastructure. Thousands of volunteers put in thousands of hours to make an entire city come alive in the desert for 1 week a year. That's amazing. There have been deaths at Burning Man, tragically, no more than at any other large festival, but they tragically have still happened. But Burning Man really does put in so much work and so much hours and so much planning to try and make sure that everyone who wants to come and have a free-for-all and be wild and crazy and free and all of those joyful things can do that in a safe environment, in a controlled environment. Burning Man definitely takes safety and medical concerns seriously. They have multiple medical stations around Playa that are staffed with volunteers who are licensed and practicing medical professionals. They also have roving EMTs as well as an ambulance on site. One of my favorite quotes that was told to the New York Times, the goal now is to make Black Rock City just safe enough that people can joke about dying without actually dying. Most people who attend Burning Man will not notice that there are over 400 fire extinguishers, each meticulously tracked and updated with its own QR code. Most people aren't going to see that, but there is hidden, and sometimes not so hidden, infrastructure and planning and logistics and backups and safety nets and all that to make sure that people can be as free as possible and stay safe. Our final myth is that Burning Man is a barter economy. Now, I thought this. This is a misconception that I definitely had. I thought it was a barter economy. You know, you can't buy and sell things, but you can exchange and haggle and do all that stuff. No. I want to go back to one of our 10 principles that I didn't really touch on then because I wanted to talk about it now. Gifting. Gifting is about giving something to someone with zero expectation of reciprocity. You're not doing it to get something back. You're not doing it for a favor or a service or a good or anything like that. You're doing it for the joy of gifting, whether it's gifting a physical item or your creativity or your time or your compassion or your physical labor or your toilet paper, whatever it is, you're giving it because you want to help the person next to you. So let's talk about the people. the burners. Who goes to Burning Man? So we're going to take a look at the 2024 census. Now, this is something done by the Burning Man organization each year. And this year in 2024, they got about 6,000 responses. So little less than 10% of the people who went. So a large number, but it is just a sample. So remember, these are not perfect numbers. So first we're going to look at age. This shows the age of the respondents that year, with the most popular age being around 35. So the biggest chunk is people in their 30s. The next two biggest chunks are people in their 20s and 40s. And then it kind of gradually goes down as you get younger and older. Level of education is one that may surprise people. I think there's a certain assumption about burners and how educated they are and how much they've accomplished in their careers and stuff. And I think maybe that assumption is often wrong. So burners in general are pretty well educated. So as you can see, over 40% have at least a bachelor's degree and over 30% have some sort of advanced degree. So a master's, doctorate, law degree, etc. Let's look at gender. So this is from 2013 to 2024, and you can see it's relatively consistent. Men make up almost 60% of the attendees. Women are around 40%, and then people who identify as something else, non-binary, genderqueer, etc., are in the single digits, between 1 and 2% generally. Burning Man tries very hard to be radically inclusive, but it's not perfect. Of course it's not. Let's take a look at personal income, because Burning Man is not cheap. Let's look at the income of burners from 2015 to 2024. As you can see, there has been a steady increase of people making at least $100,000 a year. That's that medium gray and dark gray lines. And then everyone making under $100,000 a year has been pretty consistently declining. Burning Man is not cheap. Despite the thousands of volunteer hours that go into putting it on, it's not cheap to put on, and they don't have any of those corporate sponsorships, so tickets are not cheap. They do have low-income tickets available for $250. Now, $250 is still a lot of money to a lot of people, but it is cheaper than normal tickets. They also have tickets for people affected by geopolitical conflict and natural disasters, and kids 12 and under get in free. But for everyone else, tickets start at $550. Now, there are several tiers of tickets. All these tickets get you the same thing, access to everything, but there are tiers. There's a certain amount of tickets at $550, a certain amount at the next year, and they get gradually more expensive. The idea and this social expectation within the burner community is that you buy the tickets that you can afford. If you make a lot of money, you are expected socially to buy a more expensive ticket. If you don't make much money, you can try and get one of the tickets in one of those lower tiers. This is not enforced. This is a social expectation to try and make it as affordable as they can. But again, this is just the ticket. There's the cost to get to and from the event, maybe lodging before and after. There's all of your supplies, your food, your water, your shelter, all of that. It really adds up. So again, they try and be radically inclusive. They're doing their best, but it costs money to put on an event like this, and the tickets are not cheap. Now, the last bit of information we're going to talk about from the 2024 census is race. Burning Man is hella white. And I can say that because I am also hella white. Over 60% of people who attended this year were white based on this census, with every other category being significantly lower. One of the categories that is particularly low on attendance is Black people. There are Black burners, but there are not very many of them. I've got an article in the description box below. It's an open letter to the Burning Man community written by a burner named Blackrock Smitty. And in it, he talks about the amazing experiences he's had at Burning Man, the amazing people that he's met, why he loves the community. But he's also talked about the stereotypes and stigma that he's faced. One example is at a bar camp, he really likes to greet people at the door, and a lot of people just assume he's the bouncer. Another is that when the topic of race is addressed by the Burning Man community and the organization, he said it often feels like they're talking about Black people instead of talking to Black people. This is certainly not an issue just in Burning Man, but it is an issue. It's something they feel. Also in the description box below is a short film by Gina Levy. It's called In Pursuit of Happiness, Black at Burning Man. It's about 10 minutes long. It's here on YouTube. It's free to watch, but it's really good. It's just the experiences and perspectives straight from Black burners. They're talking about the good, the bad. Their perspectives are really valuable and really insightful, so I encourage you to watch that. It's a really interesting short film. Another obstacle to accessibility in Burning Man is people with disabilities. They have obstacles to accessibility in a lot of places, and Burning Man is no exception. But there is a really cool camp. It's called Mobility Camp, and their entire goal is to make Burning Man more accessible. Whether it's taking people around the event to see the art and experience the event fully, whether it's helping people prepare their electric wheelchairs so they don't get ruined by playa dust, whatever it is, that's their goal. So in honor of today's topic, I have made a donation to Mobility Camp to help them achieve that goal. I've also made a donation to my local regional Burning Man event. When researching this topic and talking to all the burners that I talked to and reading all the things I did, the word that I kept hearing was community. And I really think that's what Burning Man is about. People love Burning Man. People attend Burning Man because they love their community. They're willing to work very hard for their community. They're willing to be in very harsh conditions for their community because they love it. It's an event that is made by and for that community. And it's a community where you are welcome exactly as you are. So if you take nothing else away from today, if that's all you learned, just know that Burning Man is about that community and those principles.
Yeah, but the real spirit of Burning Man isn't about destruction. It's about creating, participating, contributing, building a community that needs you, relies on you. It's about allowing yourself to become part of the whole and then coming away from it with more than you brought.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And please remember that this was a short overview of Burning Man, not a deep dive. There is a lot of history and lore and nuance in this topic. So if you have any experience with Burning Man, if you've been to Big Burn or a regional event, or if you want to, or if you have someone in your life who does, please share your perspective below in the comments. I would love to keep learning, keep deepening my understanding, and I really want to hear as many perspectives as possible. So please comment below. I have all of the resources and all the things I talked about in the description box below. Plus, I do have all of the different artwork that I mentioned so that you can see who made that and see the credits. Again, thank you for watching. I post a new video every week, and I hope I see you at the next one.